Okay, welcome back to another video. It's Tuesday, August 11th. I'm on my last day of quarantine, so I'm pretty excited to be able to go outside tomorrow. Today, we're going to do some Litvish stories. Not Hasidic stories, we're going to do some Litvish stories. They're also big, very, very big tzaddikim, with lots of nisim and also a lot of cool stories as well. Found some over here in the sefer that we read from Ketzos Rav Shmuel Kelin, who was a Breslover Chassid who grew up in Tzfat and knew a lot of stories and wrote them all down in this book over here from different rebbes and different tzaddikim. So today we have a few stories. First story is about the Ketzos HaChoshen, who I don't really know who he was. I know when I was learning in Litvish yeshivas that he was a big deal and the sefer was a big deal, but I don't really know so much about him. So let's learn about him today. So it says over here, the Goyin, the baal Ketzos HaChoshen, whose name was Rabbi Ari Leib Heller. He tried, his people, I guess, whoever was with him, or he himself, they tried that he should be taken as the Rav of Frankfurt back then, whatever year it was. And they didn't want him. And his student went, who was also a big Goyin, right? He went to Frankfurt and he asked them to take him as a Rav. And they still didn't want him. And they said, we don't know who he is, if he's able to learn or not, right? And afterwards, when they printed his sefer, the sefer Shav Shmaitza, Shehu Sefer B'Charifas Gadol U'Ba'amkus. It's a sefer with Charifas Gadol Amkus, very lumdish sefer in Gemara. Amru Alav, they still said that this is still not good enough. I wonder what was going on in Frankfurt that they said that that's not good enough. Like, it's a Shav Shmaitza, man, you know. It's supposed to be a very holy sefer. And they still did not take it. And when his sefer Ketzos HaChoshen came out on Shulchan Aruch, Choshen Mishpat, which is on the Sefer Choshen Mishpat, on the part of Shulchan Aruch, Choshen Mishpat, which is all about business, which is also probably very charif and deep, ad lehafli, to wondrous levels. And when this Sefer came to Rabbi Akiva Eger, Zal, he took a horse, it says Rabbi Akiva Eger took a horse, and he went straight to the Goyin Rav Yaakov Melisa Zal, Baal Sefer Chavas Das. His name was Goyin Rav Yaakov Lieberman Melisa. I think I heard of the Sefer Chavas Das, also a big sefer. Also on Shulchan Aruch Yardea. Okay, I heard of that, yeah. And he went on a horse with the Sefer Ketzos HaChoshen in his hand. And when he got to Rav Yaakov of Lisa, he showed him the sefer. He said to him, look what Hashem has in this world. A Jew like this who can learn so much and so well. So they were praising his sefer. So the Ketzos HaChoshen was a big dude. Big guy. Now it continues over here, and it says that the baal Ketzos HaChoshen, he was from the Prushim u'Misnagdim al Chassidus. He was a very big misnagid on Chassidus, and on Pesach he would eat knedlich, which is matzah shruya u'mevushelas. Basically, he would eat gebrachs, and we all know Chassidim do not eat gebrachs, right? That the Chassidim don't eat this. There was a certain few Chassidim who wanted to do a trick on him, a spitzel they call it, some leitzanim, and they came to his family, and they said to the family, you should make the Rav, the Ketzos HaChoshen, the knedlich, from this flour that we're going to give you. Right? It will be much more geschmack for him, it will be much more tasty. Right? And they did it, and they took from them kemach pashut, regular flour. So not matzah shruya, or I guess they faked it, whatever it was, and it was something that he wouldn't obviously eat on Pesach, right? And they made it, and it would have been asur from Tita, obviously. When they brought it to the table, and the minhag was that when they gave him food, and he was always saying Torah and thinking about certain stuff in the Gemara and everything like that, so the food would get cold, and they would have to warm it up many times. So now when they brought him these kinedlach, right, he was so deep in his learning that they had to heat up the food a few times, and he was kept on going and he didn't eat, and a few hours passed and another few hours passed, and he still was deep in the learning. Now when he found out to learn, they told him that they already heated it up so many times, shekvar chimlu lo yameichel kama pamim shezeh kama shoyz adayin lo yachol. I guess, and it wasn't good enough to eat it. And he thought about it. What's today that I'm being so deep in my learning? Okay, a few hours he doesn't usually eat, but I'm saying like 6-7 hours doesn't eat. He was thinking like something's up over here. So he says something's going on. And he asked the Shifcha, how did she make the Knedluch? She told him that the Chassidim came and gave her this special flour that would be better. Right away he commanded to burn the Meichel, to burn this food, and to clean the Kelim, and to hide them. Hashem Yisbarach Yitzilu Aydei Limud Me'isr Chomer Kozeh Chametz Pesach. And Hashem saved him from eating chametz on Pesach, with his learning. So obviously, that is not the Hasidic way to do things, but those guys were doing late sanas back then. Another story over here of a guy. It says Goyin, Rav Tzaddik Shmuel Kelin, who's the baal mechaber sefer Machtzis HaShekel al Shulchan Aruch, right? Who that's a well known. I mean, that's so like the Ketzos HaChoshen. That's well known. It's there. The hikaru perish. The perish shoy al Magen Avram. Really, the Machtzis HaShekel is actually really mostly a parish on the Magen Avram, which is a parish on the Shulchan Aruch. And the world says that he himself, this guy Rav Shmuel Kelin, is the soul of the Magen Avram. And since the Chibor, since the Sefer Magen Avram, the parish that he wrote, is very short, and sometimes it's hard to understand, Al Kain, he had to come back to this world another time, and he had to clarify it by making the Sefer Machtzis HaShekel, with the Farish Hetiv Devarov. That's pretty crazy. And this guy, Rav Shmuel Kelin, was the Rav in Kelin, wherever that was, somewhere probably in Austria or whatever. The Chassam Sofer, the Chassam Sofer was very humbled in front of him. Ukishatalmidei Chassam Sofer hayu oimrim lo al ezed dinu minug puk chayzi mayam devar. If his students would tell him something about a new din, like this is what people are doing, he would say, go out and look what Rav Shmuel Kelin is doing, because he's the world. So obviously the Chassam Sofer held that this guy Rav Shmuel Kelin, this Tzaddik, very highly. Rav Shmuel Kelin, Hoyanoi, his custom was that between Menachem Engel, he would say a shir and Torah bepashtus, simply in front of the simple balei batim that were in his shul. And when a big Talmid Chacham would come, Haya mechabdei shehu yomer asher. And when a big Talmid Chacham would come, he would be mechabed him to say the shir. And the Chassam Sofer wanted to hear his limud of this guy of Shmuel Kelin, I guess by the shul b'tim Menachem. He wasn't able to, because right when he saw him, Lo Yelamed Rak Yechabdei Shu Yelamed, because when Rav Shmuel Kelin would see him, he would say, no, you go teach them. Al Kain, his Ganei Vatzain Tachas HaSafsel. Therefore, the Chassam Sofer had to hide himself under the bench, and then he was able to hear his teacher. I mean, not his teacher, but this guy Rav Shmuel Kelin teaching. And afterwards, when the Chassam Sofer was with his Talmid of Amar Pshat, Me'ilu Pshatim, he would say a Pshat from these Pshatim, Hayu Omer Zed Kanafti Mer Shmuel Kelin. I stole this Pshat from Rav Shmuel Kelin. Nice. These guys are very holy. Kuf Lamed Ches. Okay. More stories. The Rav Wolf of Baskovitz. I like that name. Baskovitz is a good name. And the son of this guy, the son of Rav Shmuel Kelin, is this guy, Rav Zev Wolf Baskovitz. He would do masemat and he would do business. He was a very good man. And he wanted to support his father, Rav Shmuel. But his father, Rav Shmuel, did not want to take his support because he didn't want to take, from other people. And he would go in simple clothing because he didn't have a lot of money to buy any, nicer clothing. And his son, Rav Wolf Baskovitz, had a lot of Yisurim Mizeh. And he bothered his father about it, like, let me at least make you clothing, some nice clothing. Yeshiv Lo Kanal, that he doesn't want to enjoy anything from other people. And it didn't help at all. Until he came up with an Eitzah that he was going to start embarrassing him about this. Because the Welt didn't know that Rav Shmuel Kelin didn't want to wear nice clothing because he didn't want to take from other people. They only thought that, maybe he's a kamtzan, like he's just cheap. Al Kain loy noisan la'aviv sheyalbish es atzmo. Therefore, he did not give his father to dress himself. What? I don't know what that means. Hold on. Ki oilim einim yoidim shezeh machmas she'ein roitzel b'hanas imenu rak yoim mibnei shu kamtzan. The world thinks that he's just a kamtzan. Al kain loy noisan la'aviv sheyalbish es atzmo. Therefore, he didn't give his father his clothing to dress himself, and I guess he had to make him new clothing. And I guess he had to take the clothing that his son made for him, and that's how he did it. So that's pretty weird, but that's how it goes. And after he died, they found the whole cheshbon that his son made for him. I guess his son died before him, and he found the cheshbon, and he returned it to him. But who did he return it to? Because his son was dead. What? I'm a little confused about this story. I don't know. All right, let's do this last story. I'm sorry I didn't understand the end of that last story, but this is a bigger story. So this guy, the same guy, Rav Wolf Mibaskovitz, who was the son of Rav Shmuel Kelin, he would go and travel for business. Pamachas, he was in a city. Hold on, I know from this story that I'm going to read now, because I already read it one time, that his father came to him in a dream. So his father was dead. So after he died, so his father died first. Sorry, we're going back to that original story. His father died first. So what did that mean? That they found the cheshbon shebinoi hoitzi alav. I guess he had money saved that he would pay his son back. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway. So this guy, Rav Wolf Baskovitz, would go for business. He was in a certain city. And he went into a chsanya hotel that the owners were murderers. Sounds like a horror movie. Any person that would stay by them, they would murder him and take his money. He didn't know. He went in simply, and he went in with his wagon, And he put his wagon in the chutzner, and he let the horses go and gave them food, right? And they gave him a special room, eating, and they treated him with kavod. And nothing came to his mind that he was in a sakana. Nothing seemed off to him. And he was there. It was ready in the night, and he was learning. And he went to sleep, and he dreamed that his father, Rav Shmuel, who we were talking about, Rav Shmuel Kelin, this big tzaddik, came to him from the upper world, and he said to him, because it was already after he died, like I just said, and he said to him, "What are you sleeping? You're in a major sakana over here. You're in major danger. Major danger. That's a good. Isn't that that's a band producer or something? It's a good name. V'heikitz mishnasai." And he woke up, and he said, "Divrei chalim is loy mal v'loy marid." Dreams. He basically said dreams aren't anything. And get in Nun Beis. It says in the Gemara and get in Nun Beis about dreams. Went back to sleep. Father came again. "Why are you sleeping? You're in major danger." And he also did not pay attention to this. He kept on sleeping. His father came. Third time he didn't let him sleep, and he says, "Why are you sleeping? Please go save yourself." And he woke himself up. He said, "There's something going on," and he wanted to go out from the room, but he saw that he was locked inside. It's exactly like a crazy horror movie. And he trying to figure out what to do until he crawled out the window, and he went through the window to the chutzner. The chutzner was sugar masugar, right? And he saw that his wagon was there without horses. And he said, "Okay, I'll go into the wagon." Hishkiv esatzmei sham al haaretz. And he laid himself down on the ground, and it was dark, and they couldn't see him. So he knew that he was in a sakana, so he hid himself. And after a little bit of time, he heard that they opened up the courtyard, and the son of the owner came in, because he was in the marketplace until the middle of the night. He was very tired, and he did not want to go into the house. He didn't want to go to his house, so he went to their achsanya. Pesach achotzer sogar tekiv, right? And he went into the room of Rav Wolf Baskowitz, who was now hiding. Right? And he saw the light on. He saw a candle that was lit, and the bed was made. And he was so tired, he just went to sleep. He's like, "Oh, this bed's for me," right? In the middle of the night, this baal bayis, the murderer, scary baal bayis guy, went straight to the cheder, shel Rav Wolf, and he extinguished the candle. And he went straight to the bed that he thought Rav Wolf was in it, and he took an axe, and he smashed open the head of the person that was sleeping there. And he didn't even check who it was, that it was really his son, until he killed him. Because that was their minhag. That was their custom. In the middle of the night, they would go in with a garzan, an axe, they would extinguish the candle, and they would hit this guy in the head until he dies. And then they would leave. And in the morning, they left, they came back, and they saw and in the morning they came, they took the body, and they buried him and took his money. And they didn't realize that it was his son. Or maybe they did realize, but not yet at this point in the story. Rav Wolf Shoma Kol Hanal. Rav Wolf saw what was happening. He understood what was going on in this hotel, in this scary hotel, and he thanked Hashem. And he was there in the wagon the whole night until the morning. He stood up from the wagon, and he untied his horses, and the chutzner was already open, and he went with his hagala. Because in the morning they couldn't kill him because people were going, and then the Mem Shalah would come and all like that. And then after he escaped, the Baal Bayis went inside the room and he saw that the person he killed was his son. And that's etzem evel vilala umar umarar v'choshech v'tzalmovis. And it was very dark and sad and bad for them. But that's what you get when you try to murder people who sleep in your hotel. And the pasuk says, "Kain yoivdu kol oivecha Hashem." All the enemies of Hashem will be destroyed. Amen. Kain yihi ratzon. May it be His will. Pretty crazy stuff, man. That is some wild stories. And that's it for today's video.